Let's set the stage.
Now dig on this.
The year is 2019. You've been working retail for the better part of a decade. You've watched countless people around you come and go, all while leading or pursuing life-benefiting endeavors.
One eternity later.
Eventually you get to the point where the mirror asks you, what do you want to pursue in your own life?
Who are you? And what do you want?
You realize that you've been simply surviving all this time and have nothing to look back on, or any creative accomplishments of your own. Now this is the reality for many, but as the years went on, this feeling of unfulfillment just ate away at me more and more. Depression be damned. I decided that I was going to break free from it, and flex my creative side to the best of my ability. On the artistic dartboard, I landed on voice acting as the field that interested me the most. Being able to bring fictional characters to life by quite literally giving them a voice was so intriguing to me. It brought me right back to being a kid and watching Pokemon. Not only were they bringing these characters to life, but also all of these fictional creatures that had no real baseline for how they should sound. To this day, I believe it's such a masterpiece of imagination. Needless to say that once my mind was made up, I held nothing back from doing mountains of research and studying on the topic. I watched countless hours of YouTube videos, took online classes, and spent quite a bit of time on educational websites for the subject. In my early studies, I was told time and time again that you have to be in either New York, Texas, or California to get consistent work as a voice actor. But then something happened in 2020 that really made home studios a much more viable option. Suddenly games, movies, and anime were all being recorded at home. Needless to say, I got to work making my own during this time. Now, what I'm about to show you is the early days of my career, and there's a lot to unpack here. But don't worry, we'll get through it together. This is my very first voiceover booth. Notice the kid's sports blanket that I received from my grandmother years prior, the horrible camo HP laptop, the lack of a proper mic stand, and the hand-me-down instrument microphone. Yes, this was my edition of a gold standard vocal booth on a low budget. The laptop was from my school days. I didn't have a mic stand, so I had to use this $20 boom arm to hold the mic. The blanket was used to dampen sound from bouncing off the walls and messing up my audio. In retrospect, there was a lot of room for improvement here, but it was the best I could do with what I had at the time. Quick side note here. This microphone was a Shure SM57, which I don't recommend for voice acting. It's typically used for recording or amplifying instruments at concerts. A lot of new voice actors and even experienced ones I've seen through the years use the Audio-Technica 2020. I've heard some very well processed recordings with it. Around mid-2020 to early 2021, I made the incredibly bold and dumb decision to quit my job and pursue acting full-time. An idea that was born from eagerness to pursue my dream and to create as many projects as I could get my hands on. In those days, I was so preoccupied with the thought of chasing projects that others would come up with. The idea of making my own was not even a blip on my radar. I went on to make an account on ACX, Casting Call Club, Fiverr, and wherever else voice actors were accepted. And this is where we're probably going to get into my issues with voice acting. During this time, I was working all hours of the day, every day, trying to get projects done and make enough money to live off of. I was getting somewhat steady work through Fiverr, and had actually managed to land a few audiobook deals on ACX. Another quick side note here. I think it's great if you're just starting out or if you want to work on projects for free and don't expect payment of any kind. Art and money don't always have to coincide. It's okay if you're doing it for fun or for the experience. That's great. But I also believe that you should be getting paid properly for the work you do on projects, which may be a video for a different day. Okay, back on topic. What I didn't understand at the time was that audiobooks are a lot of work. And typically people looking at you being the new talent that you are, they're not wanting to pay a lot or even standard rates sometimes. At the time, I was completely okay with being paid very little because I knew that I didn't have the experience or knowledge as somebody who had been doing this longer. I went on to record a few audiobooks and other projects where the other party would refuse to pay me or would ghost me entirely, which is unfortunately something you have to look out for. ACX has it built in to where both parties basically have to agree that the recording was received and payment was received before the audiobook can be published to Amazon. But I don't know if that stopped the authors from just taking your uploaded recordings and using them for personal matters or off-site selling. Maybe they fixed this over the years, I'm not sure. After a few months of working around the clock, and I mean around the clock, I was working some days from the moment that I woke up until late that night when it was time to go to bed. I had managed to accumulate roughly $1,000 in earnings, but I had also successfully burned through most of my savings trying to just stay afloat with bills and other expenses. Unfortunately, having to go back to work to a stable income and put voice acting a bit on the back burner. As for my journey now, I feel as though it's still only just begun. Moving forward, I want to have a stronger focus on creating my own projects, which is where YouTube comes in. I still want to dabble in other projects, but I've found myself far more selective than what I used to be when it comes to auditioning. Let's go over the lessons I learned through the years, so hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Lesson number 1. Don't quit your day job before you have a steady income with voice acting. I know it's tempting, and believe me, I've experienced it firsthand. You can have all the passion in the world, but it doesn't always mean that you'll have steady income or a livable income following that passion, unfortunately. That's just the world that we live in. Lesson number 2. Look out for projects and people that are not willing to pay you, aka scammers. They will often try to postpone payment or may even try to offer you something in return, like doing a demo reel for you. But the other party shouldn't be trying to get out of paying you. This is basically where this lesson's coming from. Lesson number 3. Be very selective from who you take lessons from, because not everyone has your best interest in mind. I recommend taking classes from somebody who has been in the field for many years, is a notable and trustworthy voice actor, like Steve Blum, Yurilowenthal, Crispin Freeman, and Kara Buckland. I'll try to link their classes in the description. Most, if not all of them, are still doing classes to this day. Lesson number 4. Don't always chase projects from others. Be creative and try to come up with your own projects. Lesson number 5. Be selective in the projects that you choose to audition for. I've been a part of many projects that sadly never got off the ground for one reason or another. Typically speaking, voice actors are some of the last people to arrive at a project. Now this can vary on a case-by-case basis, but a good sign that you found a project that indeed will be finished is that the director has a finished script, a trailer, character art, or any other type of media that will help to show you what the final product is going to look like. Lesson number 6. Voice acting is a highly competitive field, but that doesn't mean you should force yourself into a role that your voice doesn't fit. Be natural in your audition, and if your voice isn't something the director's looking for, it's okay to simply move on to the next project or audition. In the early days, I thought that if I just improved my audition to the best of my ability, ultimately I would be able to get specific roles or a role that I just so heavily wanted, but that's realistically not the case. You basically just have to try your best with your first audition and just move on from there. If the director is interested in pursuing your audition further or asking you to improve anything, they'll let you know, but you can't just fix it there on the spot, basically. I've come to learn that you basically have to just audition and just go. Ultimately, what they want to hear is just how you sound. Like, where are you at acting-wise? What do you sound like? Sometimes we can work on the voice after the fact, after you've basically proven yourself. Lesson number 7. You'll face a lot of rejection in voice acting. It's important to stay confident in yourself through it all. I think you're doing great as long as you're putting in effort and always ready to learn. Voice acting is a journey, most definitely. It's not a destination. You're always going to be learning something. And the next lesson. Save your work often, especially for long projects like audiobooks. I've lost many an hour to longer projects like audiobooks for not saving, so definitely don't make that mistake. And the last lesson. Microphones typically come in both USB and XLR, but what a lot of people will tell you is that XLR microphones are better quality. They're capable of producing better quality audio, so if you're able to, definitely shoot for XLR. Boo! I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff while I wrote out this list, so there will most likely be a part 2 to this in the future. I'm also going to list some helpful tips and sites, anything else that I can think of down in the description, so feel free to take a old gander at that. And that's all we're going to cover in today's video. Thanks for sticking with me. Let me know what kind of projects that you would audition for if given the chance. Definitely learn from my mistakes, and I wish you good luck in future voice acting.